So to make this shorts pattern, I have drawn my waistline, as you can see on my pattern paper. So this is my waistline and it's going to be my starting point. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my waist to hip measurement by placing the measuring tape from the waistline to my hip. As you can see in the illustration, that is how you take your waist to hip measurement. So I'm just going to mark my 9-inch hip measurement and I'm going to draw a horizontal line across with the help of my ruler and my marker. So this is going to be labeled as my hip line with a letter H. Then next I'm going to find my crotch line. You take your crotch measurement by placing the measuring tape from the waist to the seat. You have to sit on a flat surface, then measure from the waist to the seat. So my crotch line is 10 inches. I'm just going to mark it right here. And I'll label it at the letter C. Then next I'm going to determine the full length of my shorts. So I want these shorts to reach in my thighs, and the distance between the crotch and thigh is just 3 inches. So I'll go 3 inches below my crotch line. So this is going to be the full length of my short because I want it to reach my thighs. Just label it as full length with a letter F. The next, I'm going to put my waist circumference divided by 4, my hip circumference divided by 4, sorry. I'll mark it on my hip line. So my hip circumference divided by 4 is 10 inches. And I'm going to connect this up to my waist and down to my crotch. As you can see, I'll just go up from my hip circumference, up to my waist and down to my crotch line. Then next I'm going to curve my crotch, put my crotch extension. So to put your crotch extension, get the distance on your hip. Remember my hip circumference divided by 4 was 10 inches. I'm going to divide it by 4 again. I'll divide 10 by 4 and it will give me 2.5 inches. That's 2.5 inches I'll put on my crotch line. Then I'm going to curve my crotch using my curve ruler. So I just curved my crotch line. Then next I'm going to mark my waist circumference divided by 4. So from my waistline this side, I'm going to mark my waist circumference divided by 4, which is 9 inches. And remember to add wearing ease and seam allowance on your pattern paper, or you can add it when sewing on your fabric. So next I'm going to curve my hip by connecting that point down to my hip line and crotch line with my hip curve ruler. Then next I'm going to, as you can see, I've just shaped my beautiful hip. Next I'm going to connect that point to the full length of my shorts at a slight angle, just half an inch inwards. I'll connect down with my ruler and I'll shape the short on the other side. So I've just shaped my shorts and remember to add seam allowance around it and hemming allowance. So I'm going to add the hemming allowance from the full length of the shorts downwards. So I'm just going to go on my full length and extend by adding hem allowance. So I'll just add 1.5 inch of hem allowance, or 1 inch. You can add whichever you feel comfortable. So I'm just going to add 1.5 inch. This is my hemming allowance. So I'll just label it as the hem. Okay, so we just made our shorts. Next, I'm going to make the pockets and the back side of the shorts. So to make the pockets of the shorts, we're going to do very easy steps. I'm going to go on my waistline here, inwards by 3.5 inches. I'll get my measuring tape and go inwards by 3.5 inches. Then I'm going to go downwards, vertically downwards by 6 inches or 5 inches. You can either use 6 or 5 inches. So what I'm doing here is I'm making my pocket opening. This is going to be the pocket opening where you're going to be putting your hand in the pocket. So I'll just connect these two. Then next I'm going to shape my pocket. So to shape the pocket, to make the pocket shape, I'm going to go on this line by 6 inches. Remember the first was 3.5. Next I'm going to go inwards by 6 inches. Then I'm going to connect this point to my hip line and shape the pocket. Just get my curve rule and shape my pocket. So I've just shaped my pocket. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this pocket onto another paper. I'll get a separate plain paper and trace this with my tracing wheel. I'll trace the pocket facing, and I'm also going to trace the full pocket, which is going to be the pocket bag. So I'll just get another paper, place it underneath. Let's do what I'm doing, guys. It's very easy. So I'm going to get my tracing wheel and trace the pocket. So the tracing wheel has wheels, sharp wheels. Once I trace, they are going to make marks on the paper underneath. So those marks I'm just tracing right now. I'm tracing the whole pocket to make my pocket bag. So what's happening is the paper underneath is getting some marks with the help of this tracing wheel. If you have a carbon paper, it's good to use carbon paper, but even just without a carbon paper, the tracing wheel works perfectly fine. The marks are going to be visible. If you press it a little harder, the marks are going to be visible. So I've just traced my pocket on another tracing on another paper, and this is going to be my pocket bag. So let me just remove it. But before I remove it, I'm going to cut off the opening of the pocket. Remember, this was the pocket. We have a pocket and a pocket opening. So let me remove the pockets opening since I've already traced out the pocket bag. So if you can see clearly, I have some marks there, and I'm going to make these marks more visible by passing through with my marker. So I'm just going to follow these marks that the tracing will brought down with my marker. I'm just going to, so that you guys can easily see now. So like I said earlier, if you have carbon paper, it can be the best. So this is my pocket bag. I'm just going to label it as my pocket bag. So I'm just going to cut it out with my pair of scissors. Okay, so I have my pocket bag. Then next I'm going to trace out my pocket facing. So I'm just going to place another paper down there, and then I'll trace out my pocket facing. If you remember very well, I had cut out the pocket opening. I had this paper here, then I removed it to make the pocket opening. So I'm going to trace this pocket facing, which is the pocket facing. Trace it out by making marks on my tracing, using my tracing wheel. So this part I'll just use my marker. And then I'm going to continue tracing, passing through with my marker where the tracing will left the marks. I know you guys can't see clearly, but the tracing will left some marks, and I'm passing through the same marks with my marker. And like I said, if you have a carbon paper, it's best to use a tracing wheel with your carbon paper. Okay, so this is my pocket facing. It's going to be the facing for the pockets. I'm going to cut it out. And so if you'd love to see how to sew these pockets on the shorts, I'll link a video in the description how to sew the pockets and the shorts. Okay, so I have my pocket facing and my pocket bag. This is the pocket facing, and this is how it's going to be, like so. So if you'd love to watch how to sew this, check the video in the description box. So next we're going to I'm going to show you guys how to make the back side of the short. So the first thing is going to be sewn right here, then taken inside like I have done it. So next, let me show you how to make the back sides of the short. So to make the back side of the shorts, what I'm going to do is I'll trace the front shorts on another pattern paper. So as you can see, I've traced the back side and I've labeled my waist and crotch, because we're going to concentrate on the crotch and waistline, because that's what makes the back and front different, is the crotch and waistline of the back. So on my crotch line, I'm going to move outwards by 2 inches. I'll get my measuring tape. So you have to know that the crotch for the back is wider than the crotch for the front. So I've just marked my 2 inches there. Then on my waistline, I'm going to move inwards by 1.5 inch. And I'll go upwards by 1.5 inches. So next I'm going to curve the crotch for my back by connecting these points down to this crotch. So I'm just going to get my curve ruler and connect. But to help me make the curve perfectly, I'm going to move upwards here by 1 inch. This 1 inch is just an aid to make the curve perfect. But if you're accurate enough, you may not need this 1 inch. Just get the curve ruler and connect. Curve the back crotch line. So as you can see, I'm using my curve ruler. Then I'll connect it up. Okay, so this is the back crotch for the short. Let me just curve this a bit more. The next, I'm going to put my waistline for the back. So to put the new waistline, I'll get the front waistline. Remember, the measurement on my front waistline was 9 inches. I'm going to mark it, starting from these points down here. So before I mark, I need to make another straight line on my waist. Just extend the waistline. Then I'll mark my new waistline from up there, diagonally down. So this is my new waistline for the back side. Then I'm going to connect this down to my hemline. Just get my curve ruler. Okay, so as you can see, and I'll go on my crotch line and connect it to my hemline as well. So this is the back side of the short. I'll just label it as my back. So I'll link a video on how to sew the shorts if you'd love to know how to sew the shorts and the pockets and the zipper fly. Thank you so much guys for watching. This has been the front and back side of the shorts with pockets. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.